Eating disorders. In this presentation, we are going to go over basically explanations of food eating disorders, the types of food eating disorders. Then I am going to describe the main types of food eating disorders. Then we're going to end it with treatment options, conclusion, and the credits. What is an eating disorder? Eating disorders are illnesses that affect a person's eating behavior and often cause changes in how much food they take in. Obsession to food, body weight, and shape are also common with people with eating disorders and are actually serious and potentially fatal. Some methods of inheritance are food disorders run in the family, so they can also be influenced by the family. Twins in the genetics can increase food disorders, which means that if one twin has a type of food eating disorder, then the other twin is more likely to have another type or the same eating disorder. As well as certain genetics can also play a role in these disorders. Meanwhile, food disorders tend to be more common in women than men. Another acting role are mental illnesses. Types of eating disorders: anorexia nervosa, purging, night eating syndrome, avoidant restrictive food intake disorder, overeating, binge eating, bulimia nervosa, and rumination. Eating too much in a short period of time, purposefully stuffing oneself to due to other mental health problems, eating at recurring moments and at much too much in quantity, consuming until it's painful to move, affecting physical abilities. Victims of all ages, gender, race, and ethnicity, extreme weight gain are all the symptoms of binge eating and overeating. Individuals with binge eating and overeating disorder often eat an excessive amount of food in a short period of time. The food exceeds the healthy limit, and the cause is a result of one dealing with other mental health problems and also physical health problems. Body parts that are affected are excretory system, brain due to other health issues, and digestive systems. By the way, when it says brain for the body parts affected, it means the mental illnesses that they are dealing with prior to the food eating disorder, or to cope with those mental disorders, you're having the mindset of a specific mindset for each eating disorder, such as thinking of yourself as fat or never eating, or you're terrified of food. So basically, it's like neurosurgical problems. Not eating syndrome. Not eating syndrome is a food eating disorder in which an individual has a delay in their daily circadian. This means that they will eat food starting from the afternoon and then into the night. Meanwhile, a normal person would eat food during the day and until the early evening. Symptoms: not normal food intake in the evening. This can cause binge eating more than half your daily calories after waking up at night, insomnia or having difficulty falling asleep, depressed mood, or you feel that only eating will make you sleep. Some body parts that are affected are the brain and if binge parts of the digestive system. Anorexia. People with anorexia nervosa tend to see themselves as fat and overweight. This mindset causes them to restrict eating, and eventually they are utterly terrified of gaining any weight in general. These people are very underweight but see themselves as fat and overweight, terrified of gaining any weight, and have difficulty in eating food relative to the person's own body weight. They have lack of energy to talk and move, experiences body aches and an unnatural coldness in the hands and lips. Some body parts are affected are the brain, digestive system, circulatory system, and possible whole body affected if taken to the extreme. Bulimia. Bulimia or bulimia nervosa is an extreme eating disorder in which many major food disorders come together. An individual with bulimia thinks that they are too fat, so with self-regret, they stuff themselves with food in a short period of time and then cannot control their appetite when that episode occurs. Some body parts are affected are the brain and excretory and digestive system. Meanwhile, symptoms include extreme self-evaluation and diet changes, also extreme vomiting, fasting, extreme exercises, overintake of diet pills, and extreme weight loss. This can also potentially lead to binge eating, which can cause overeating, a shortness of self-control, and a weakness of the organs. Purging disorder. Purging disorder is when an individual uses tactics like self-vomiting or laxative, which are drugs, to reduce their own size and shape their body in episodes of binge eating. Individuals do not consume a large amount of food before purging, making the effect stronger. Some symptoms include hiding while eating, constant eating until pain, self-vomiting, non-stop bathroom trips, constant dieting, secretive laxative use, and very, very, very unhealthy exercise. Body parts that are affected are the brain, stomach, teeth, mouth, rectum, possibly any digestive parts, and esophagus. Avoid and restrictive food intake disorder. Avoid and restrictive food intake disorder is the having the fear of the characteristics of pieces of food which can cause unwanted emotions which restrict your ability to eat that portion of food. Lack of nutrients can cause failure to obtain energy for daily activities. Psychological malfunctions include inability to work or communicate, very restrictive of food intake, and fail to meet basic weight requirements. This can also cause many negative symptoms upon a restrictive individual and can be very troublesome to deal with and adapt to. Mental stress. Some body parts affected are the brain, bones, lack of calcium, whole body system if taken to the extreme. Finally, the last food and eating disorder in this presentation is rumination. Rumination is a disorder when young adults or children re-choose already digested food that has been brought back. This food is then swallowed again for the second time or otherwise it is spit out. Some symptoms include repetition of re-chewing partially digested food, weight loss, bad breath, chappy or raw lips, tooth decay, and indigestion. Body parts affected are the stomach, esophagus, mouth, small and large intestine. All of those symptoms and the body parts affected can be very, very harmful and life threatening for the baby or for the young adult. Treatment options: seeking a mental health professional, talking to a psychiatrist or possibly a nutritionist, possibly taking prescribed medication, doing whatever the doctor tells you to do, which is very important, talking to peers or trusted adults, which could provide very, very helpful resolution. Conclusion. In conclusion, eating disorders are not to be taken lightly. They are serious and require support and help. The illnesses can cause severe mental and physical disabilities, in some severe cases even depression or other mental health problems. If you're a victim or if you know somebody that is experiencing this illness, please get help or advise others to meet with their local mental health professionals. And here are the listed credits. Again, thank you for listening to my presentation.